Hallo Leute und willkommen zu diesem Video. Hello guys and welcome to this video. Today we are going to talk about all about articles that you need to know as a beginner to understand what German articles are, what they are used for, why they are so important, and how to learn and memorize them and use them correctly when forming sentences in German. So let's dive right into today's free German lesson all about articles. First off, I want to start with an icebreaker, and it's a little game. You can do it from home super easily. And the question is, wer bist du? Who are you? So I would like for you to introduce yourself in German and tell me one thing about yourself that you like that starts with the same letter as your name. For example, me, I'm going to do an example first. My name is Leonie, so that starts with an L. Hallo, ich bin Leonie und ich mag Lasagne. Lasagne. So Leonie und Lasagne. Now I want you to introduce yourself real quick with your name and something that you like. You can use the same sentence. Hallo, ich bin und ich mag. Go ahead right now. Okay, well done. Now let's move on. First, let's talk about what are articles and why do we need them in German. So, articles are words that go alongside nouns, and they indicate whether the noun is specific or unspecific. In English, the specific article is the, and it goes for every noun, the. In German, it's a little bit different. We have different articles, but we'll go into that a little bit later. But for now, an example for a specific article would be der Mann. Der Mann means the man. The unspecific article in English is a or un in English. In German, we have different ones. But here's an example for the unspecific article of der is ein Mann. Der Mann, specific, ein Mann, unspecific. Unspecific means it could be any man, so a man. And the man, der Mann, is a specific one. So if there's a group of men, you say der Mann, then it means that specific one. Now, German articles take many different forms, and that depends on the gender and the case and whether it's specific or unspecific or plural or anything. Here are just some examples of what the articles in German can look like. And no, it might be overwhelming now, but we will go into that in more detail. No worries, we'll get to that. So first I have, for example, sentences, and the only difference between these sentences is the articles. So the first sentence goes like this. Der Mann sieht die Katze. The man sees the cat. Now, der Mann is a specific man. So let's say the man in the middle on the picture here, the one with the red curly hair, like me. So der Mann sieht die Katze. Let's go with the ginger cat. So der Mann sieht die Katze. The ginger man sees the ginger cat. It's specific, right? The next sentence is ein Mann sieht eine Katze. A man sees a cat. So it could be any of these men seeing any of these two cats. So we don't know that because it's unspecific. The third sentence goes like this. Der Mann sieht eine Katze. So let's go with the ginger man again. Der Mann sieht eine Katze. So the man sees a cat. It could be either one of the cats. And the fourth sentence goes, ein Mann sieht die Katze. So this one could be any of these men. Ein Mann sees the cat. So a specific one, the ginger cat. A man sees the cat, the specific one, the ginger one. Do you get what the difference between specific and unspecific articles are? I hope so. Let's talk about cases. In German, we call it Kasus or Fälle. And German articles are spelled differently in those different cases. There are only 4 cases in German. A noun's article indicates its relationship to other words in a sentence. That basically just means that every noun in a sentence has a specific role. It could either be the subject, the object, or it could be a noun that shows belonging to something else, or the indirect object, or the direct object. There's lots of different parts that a noun can take in a sentence, and therefore the articles has to adapt depending on which like position or which role the noun is taking in the sentence. I hope that makes sense. Now, in German, like I said, there are 4 cases. The first one is the nominative case, Nominativ, and the noun is in the nominative case when the noun is the subject of the sentence. The next case is the accusative case, Akkusativ. When the noun is the direct object of the sentence, it has to be in the accusative case. The next case is dative, Dativ. When the noun is the indirect object of the sentence, it has to be in the dative case. And the last one is genitive or Genitiv. If the noun be showing possession, then that noun has to be in the genitive case. Here is an example sentence for you without articles. Mann gibt Frau Buch Bruders. Now, what does that mean? Man gives woman book brothers. Doesn't really make sense, right? And that's why we need the articles. The articles show the cases that the nouns are in, because the nouns can change in some cases, but usually the articles are the ones that indicate the case that the noun is, and therefore they indicate the role of the noun in the sentence. So whether the noun is the subject of the sentence or the indirect object or the direct object or showing possession. That's why we need the articles. Let's look at this sentence with the article. Der Mann gibt der Frau das Buch des Bruders. So the man gives the woman the book of the brother. I know this might look really confusing to you. Why are all these articles different? What the hell is des? And you thought that Frau is feminine, so it should be die Frau and not der Frau. But we are going to look at that in close detail in a second, because like I said before, articles change depending in which case they're in, right? Okay, so articles help us say exactly what we mean and also understand what other people are talking about. So who gives whom what and who does it belong to, basically, in this sentence, right? That's what the articles are there to describe exactly, so that everybody knows what's happening, what are we talking about. And each noun in the sentence is in a different case and also therefore has a different purpose or a different role. Now, der Mann is the subject of the sentence, der Mann, and therefore it has to be nominative. Then gibt is the verb. That's a different one. That's not one of the cases. Then Frau, der Frau, is the indirect object of the sentence and therefore has to be in the dative case. That's why it's not die Frau here, but der Frau. And das Buch is the direct object of the sentence, therefore has to be in the accusative case. And des Bruders is a noun that shows belonging and therefore has to be in the genitive case. And there the articles change completely in a different way. Okay, I hope I cleared things up with that. Let's talk about gender. So, articles in German indicate the gender of the noun. And German has 3 grammatical genders: masculine, feminine, and neuter. So that means there are 3 grammatical genders in German. The masculine article in German is der. Like we already learned, der Mann. The feminine one is die. For example, die Frau, the woman. And neuter one is das. For example, das Kind, the child. Okay, German articles also change depending on whether the noun is singular or plural, but we're not going into detail about that one. All I want you to know is that the article for plural nouns is always die, same as the feminine one, die, but only in the nominative case. Okay, now I have an exercise for you here. There are a couple of pictures of different people and different genders, right? By the way, German grammatical genders have nothing to do with the real-time genders. In some cases, they do match, so the grammatical gender matches with the real-life gender of things, but other things just don't make sense completely. For example, why would it be die Sonne, a female sun, or der Mond, a male moon? Okay, let's start with the first picture. The first picture is a man, right? Mann. Now is it der, die oder das? Masculine, feminine, or neuter? That's correct. The man is masculine, so it is der Mann. Next picture is a woman, Frau. Is it der, die oder das? That's correct, she's feminine, so it would be die Frau. The next one is baby, baby. Baby doesn't really have a gender yet. We don't know, is it female or male? So in German we just say neuter, das Baby. And the boy is masculine, right? So it should be der. And now that's an exception, because you would think that girl is feminine, right? Because it's a girl. But in German, it's different. The girl is actually not feminine, it's neuter. So it would be das Mädchen. I will go into more detail about why it is das and not die later. But for now, just remember, it is das Mädchen. Let's look at the definite articles. We just learned the articles in the nominative case, der, die, das, and the plural one, die. And in each case, the articles change. For example, in the accusative case, all the articles stay the same. Feminine, neuter, and plural articles stay the same. Only the masculine article changes from der to den. So that's a little bit weird, right? In the dative case and also in the genitive case, the articles completely change from the base form, der, die, das, die. And that might be a little bit confusing at first, but it makes sense once you practice and you study it and it becomes part of your, feeling and language skills and everything, then it becomes way easier. Now let's look at some example sentences. Der Apfel ist rot. The apple is red. Now der Apfel is the subject of the sentence, der Apfel. That's why it's nominative, and that's why der Apfel is masculine and stays der. Let's look at the next sentence. Die Frau sieht den Apfel. So now die Frau is the subject of the sentence, and der Apfel becomes den Apfel because it is the direct object of the sentence. So the woman sees the apple. So she sees the apple. The apple becomes den Apfel. So der changes to den because it is the accusative case. The next sentence is der Mann gibt der Frau den Apfel. Der Mann is the man, is now the subject of the sentence. Gibt is to give, so gives the woman the apple. Now, the apple is still the direct object of the sentence because it is the noun that is
directly influenced
of the verb, right? Der Mann gibt der Frau den Apfel. Der Frau in this case is the indirect object and therefore has to be in the dative case. But der Frau, she's not really doing anything, right? She's not being affected. She's just receiving, so she's passive. And therefore, she is the indirect object of the sentence and has to be in the dative case. So der Mann gibt der Frau den Apfel, in the accusative case, the direct object of the sentence. Whew, this is a bit confusing, right? But the cool thing about the articles is, even though you change the last two nouns, so der Frau, den Apfel, you can literally change the positions of them with the articles, of course, and the meaning stays the same. You still know what's going on. So if it would be der Mann gibt den Apfel der Frau, it would still mean the man gives the woman the apple. Now let's look at the indefinite articles, ein or eine or ein. In the nominative case, it is ein for masculine, eine for feminine, and ein for neuter. And there is no plural form for indefinite articles because you cannot say a people, right? On this chart, you can also see the different cases and their different forms of the indefinite articles. Let's look at the same example sentences, but with the indefinite articles. So, ein Apfel ist rot. An apple is red. Ein Apfel is the subject and therefore has to be a nominative case. Eine Frau sieht einen Apfel. So a woman is now the subject of the sentence, sees an apple. Now an apple is the direct object of the sentence and therefore has to be in the accusative case, and therefore ein changes to einen. And the last sentence, ein Mann gibt einer Frau einen Apfel. A man gives a woman an apple. So here ein Mann is the subject of the sentence, gives is the verb of the sentence, eine Frau is the indirect object of the sentence, and einen Apfel is still the direct object of the sentence and therefore has to be in the accusative case, and therefore it is einen Apfel. Whoo! Now, there is one more thing that we will look at today about articles, and those are demonstrative articles. Demonstrative articles are used to specify a specific noun. So der, die, das are already specific articles, right? So der Mann, die Frau, the woman, the man. But what if you want to say not these apples, those apples? And that's what demonstrative articles are used for. So the base form of demonstrative articles is dies. And then, depending on the gender and the case of the noun, we put different endings after that. So der becomes dieser. Die becomes diese. And das becomes dieses. So basically you just take the endings of the articles der and add it after dies. So dieser, diese, and dieses. Here I have another chart for you, but you do not have to learn all of the different cases, all of the different forms that demonstrative articles are taking depending on the gender and the case of the noun. For now, let's stick with the nominative ones. So dieser, diese, and dieses. And I have a couple of pictures here again for you, a couple of people. And I want you to tell me not the man on the right on this picture, but the man on the left. How can I say that one? That man. In German, we would say dieser Mann. How can I say the woman in the middle? That one. This woman. This specific woman. Diese Frau. And what about the baby on the right? That one. This specific one there. Dieses Baby. Well done. Good job. Now, how can you remember all of the German articles and the changes they undergo? And how do Germans know all of them? Well, it just sounds right to them. Just like things sound natural or right to you in your mother language, the same goes for Germans. It just sounds right, it just feels right. But there are some strategies you can use to get a hang of them, even as a language learner, a German learner. So certain word endings are always feminine. If the noun ends with ei, heit, keit, schaft, or then it is usually always feminine and therefore has the article die. And certain word endings are always neuter. For example, nouns ending with chen, ium, lein, o, or Now look at that first one, chen. Doesn't that look familiar? How do you say girl in German again? Mädchen, right? Mädchen. So chen is always neuter. That's why it's not die Mädchen, it's das Mädchen because of the ending. If the ending is chen, the noun always has to be neuter and therefore always has to have the article das. And then certain word endings are always masculine when the noun ends in ich, ismus, or ist. And therefore, if the noun ends like that, then it has the article der. But there are always exceptions, so beware those exceptions. They can be quite mean sometimes. And just memorize and practice and get familiar with the articles and how it feels. Okay, now I just have a last little quiz for you. So what's the article for Mädchen again? Is it der, die, oder das? It's das Mädchen, correct, das Mädchen. So, vielen Dank, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comment section and I will answer them as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I cleared things up for you. If I did not, please feel free to let me know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my new videos. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Tschüss, bis bald!